The rights of inmates and detainees may be limited, but they still retain basic rights. The correctional facilities they are incarcerated at are either male or female facilities. The LGBTQI+ community has, for years now, bemoaned harassment, sexual assault at general population prison cells, and unfair discrimination based on gender identity and expression. The case that has now set precedent. Jade September versus the Department of Justice and Correctional Services and others. September, a transgender woman serving a 15-year sentence for murder inside a male correctional facility, sought relief from the Gender Equality Court. Represented by the Lawyers for Human Rights, she wanted to express herself as a woman.
Her personal belongings, being small bits of makeup, mirrors, and feminine items, were taken away. She was forced to cut her hair. She was verbally abused and harassed by prison officials, and prison staff refused to use she and her when referring to her. Once, officials even put Ms. September in a cell on her own, only allowing her to exercise in a small cage and to shower while being watched as punishment for refusing to behave like a man. She was isolated for 17 days, which is 10 days longer than what it is allowed for this kind of punishment.
The groundbreaking judgment changed how LGBTQI+ individuals are now treated.
So what changed for her is that essentially she was allowed to have her personal belongings returned. So the feminine items that had been confiscated were returned to her. She was allowed to wear her hair long and express her gender identity in feminine styles as much as she would have liked. And the officials were ordered to refer to her with the correct pronouns that she respected when talking to her, or even about her. In addition, the Department of Correctional Services was ordered to introduce transgender sensitivity training for all of their officials and new employees.
The other gay inmate to win a case against the department is Tumelo Mapodile, who won a battle for a special cell 8 years ago. Mapodile, incarcerated at Johannesburg Medium B Correctional Center, known as Sun City, alleged that he was being harassed by male inmates. The South Gauteng High Court then ordered that he be moved to a single cell or to a cell with inmates of the same sexual orientation. Meanwhile, the gay umbrella organization in Mahikeng says gays and lesbians are facing the same predicament, be it at correctional facilities, police cells, or when getting arrested. There is hope that a task team made up of affected parties and government might find solutions for some of these challenges.
Firstly, when the document was drafted, it's still at the draft stage, it's not yet final, was looking at educating our police enforcement, because they are the first people to arrive wherever in the scene. They do the arrest, they do everything. You're not going to take any ordinary policewoman or policeman to understand that Mildred, for an example, myself, when you look at me, you'll see someone who mostly would look like a he. You arrest me, then that means I will have to be searched. It once happened to me actually for some odd reason that I'm not going to mention, that I was searched by a policeman, and I said, no man, I'm a woman, can't I have a woman who like first things first, who like do the searching.
The Department of Justice and Correctional Services claims to not be including inmates under the LGBTQI+ category with the general inmate population.
All those offenders who are in that category cannot be mixed with the general inmate population. You will have units where they will be placed, and this is done during the assessment phase when they're being admitted. We realized that we also needed to workshop some of our officials to say they ought to be sensitive as well about the language that they use, how they refer to other people.
Experts say the department should work towards having LGBTQI+ community cells.
The court has already said that gays and lesbians are some of the most vulnerable members of our societies. In terms of putting them in a prison cell where there's other prisoners, it puts them at the most vulnerable because of now they might be subjected to abuse. So the correctional service has to take extra measures to perhaps provide them with a cell that where it's only house members of the the gay and lesbian community where they can be protected.
Lawyers for human rights say they are now in the process of taking the Department of Justice and Correctional Services to task for not implementing their set standard operating procedures when handling inmates under the LGBTQI+ category. These SOPs were introduced following the Jade September case. Tebogo, Phakedi, SABC News, Mahikeng.